जय दुर्गे जय दुर्गे जय दुर्गे भुवनेश्वरी जय जय हो महिमा तेरी जय जय तेरी जय जय हो महिमा 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 विश्व निर्मला नर्मदा विश्व निर्मला
Jai Shri Mataji, everyone. Welcome to this morning's meditation. Let us bow down to the lotus feet of Shri Mataji and squeeze our ego and superego. We say to Mother, O Shri Mataji, we surrender our ego and superego to your lotus feet. Shri Mataji, please rule this brain. Let us raise our kundalinis and take a bandhan. Oh Mother, please accept us as your divine children and remove all the impurities which we have gathered during this and all the previous births we have had Let us center our attention on Mooladhara Chakra with both hands on Mother Earth. Let us once say Sri Ganesha mantra. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Ganesha Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devyai Namo Namaha. Keeping left hand on our lap and reminding ourselves, I am innocent. Let us take Sri Nirmal Ganesha mantra once. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Nirmal Ganesha Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devyai Namo Namaha. Keeping both hands on our lap, requesting Mother, please make me innocent. We'll take Sri Ganesha Gauri mantra. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Ganesha Gauri Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devyai Namo Namaha. Keeping left hand on Mother Earth. Let us say Sri Kartikeya mantra, requesting, O Sri Mataji, please make me worthy of your appreciation. Om Tvameva Sakshat Shri Kartikeya Sakshat Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devyai Namo Namaha. Sarva Rakshasa Hantre Saksham. Om Tvameva Sakshat Sarva Rakshasa Hantre Saksham Shri Adi Shakti Mataji Shri Nirmala Devi Namo Namaha. Let us keep our attention on Sahasrara and all our other chakras. Shri Mataji, please show me the status of my chakras on my hands. Listening to Mother's talk, we can put our attention on the chakra that needs clearance. This talk is from Sydney's public program from 1981, 25th of March. Yesterday, Mother told us about Mooladhara chakra. Now we're moving on to the Swadhisthana.
It nourishes our chitta. Now this attention, whenever it is spoiled because there are certain poisons within us. It can be physical poisons, it can be mental poisons, it can be emotional poisons, any kind of poisons there are, especially the physical and the emotional ones, they go to this liver which sorts it out. This is the function of this liver, is to sort it out. But when you are not giving it sufficient energy, you are using it for thinking, then poor this center is left behind. It has no nourishment, nobody looks after it, it becomes sluggish. When it becomes sluggish, all the heat accumulates in the liver. And such a person doesn't get any temperature till he gets cirrhosis and he dies. Now when thinking goes on too much, people get tired of thinking too much. So they think that let's have something that will take us away from thinking, which will give us a kick outside. So they take some sort of a drug or a drink or alcohol and all that. All the saints in the world have said that alcohol is very dangerous for life. The reason is it goes against our awareness. This is a fact. You know that after taking a drink, our awareness becomes blurred or excited. It's not normal. That is the reason they said no. In Sahaja Yoga, I do not say don't do this or don't do that. I only want you to come to Sahaja Yoga, get your realization, and then you will not ask for it. That's a much better way to do it. But why they asked you? For example, if you read Moses has clearly said that these are strong drinks. Very clearly, I don't know if people read that. And they should be avoided. I don't know if the Jews do that. They should not be taken. He's very clearly said it. Abraham said the same thing, that drinks are not good. Why all these prophets talk about it? Because they are all born in that green patch of ours. They are all placed in this green patch where we get our sustenance, which is 10. We have got 10 sustenances within us, like the gold has a sustenance that it does not tarnish. In the same way, human beings have got 10 sustenances. And these 10 sustenances are represented by great prophets. The principal is called as Adi Guru in Sanskrit language, the primordial master. He has incarnated on this earth as Abraham, Moses, as Lao Tse, as Confucius, as Socrates. Recently, he has been as Sainath of Shirdi, not the other fellow. And other great people have been like Nanaka, Janaka. All these great saints came on this earth to tell us how to keep in the center, how to keep our sustenance, how to be human beings. As carbon has got 4 valencies, we too have got 10 valencies. We have to maintain those 10 valencies within us. That's what they came to tell us. But you see, if anybody says now, don't drink, half of the hall will be empty. If you say you cannot have free sex, 5 people will walk off. That's the problem. Here, nobody likes to know anything about it, but it's a dangerous thing to do. Whatever it is that you have to keep in the center. You have to be in the center. And how to keep in the center is not to go to extreme, be moderate. And moderate life is the best way. But even if you have not been, doesn't matter. Kundalini is at this point in such a force that whatever you might have done, you get your realization quite all right. So it's a different point. But what I'm trying to tell you is this, that why these people said so. Why they said, now Muhammad Sahib is another one who said don't drink. He is one of them. He's just the same. There's no difference. There's no difference between Moses and Muhammad Sahib. I can prove it to you on vibrations. You can yourself know through vibrations that they were the same people, said the same thing. There's no difference of any kind. It's only people are fighting, I don't know why. I just can't understand what is there to fight between these two. They were just the same, preached the same thing, and when Moses crossed the river and the bridge was made, that bridge is the bridge which is symbolic of the Kundalini that creates for you to cross this void within us. It's very symbolic. They have worked so hard to tell you what is sustenance, where we have to be in the center. Because if you are in the sustenance, as he said, that only a thread of this Kundalini rises. It is not one thread that should rise. Actually, I've seen in people, the whole of it goes up like that and stays there in many people. But the trouble is, it rises because there's no space to rise. We have finished off with the Swadhisthana and with the another chakra which is in the center, which is the color is wrong. All right. In the center, that is the called as Nabhi chakra, means a navel center. So when you have an obstruction in the center, naturally the Kundalini, though it rises with full force, all the threads fall down, and only one somehow or other goes up and opens up the Sahasrara, thinking that at least if I open up there, then the others, the grace will fall and maybe it will open out more. So this is the problem. That's why they said that you lead a life which is moderate and temperate. And this is what they preach to. Now let us see what happens when we go to extremes. In the center, as you have seen, is the sustenance within us. Now if you try to go beyond this side or that side, what happens? Let us see. Beyond this side is the subconscious. If you go, you enter into the collective subconscious. On the other side, if you move, that is the supraconscious, you enter into collective supraconscious. Now into this side are all the people, on the left side are the people who are still dissatisfied, very sly, sinister, horrible people who are dead, who do not want to take birth and who still want to torture people are still existing there. These are busybodies. They can possess you. They do possess. And on the right hand side there are people like Hitler, who are very ambitious, who have died out of their ambitions and things like that, they still exist there. Either you enter into this side or either you enter into that side when you go to extremes and you just get possessed. It's a very dangerous area we are entering into. Recently I was seeing a BBC program and some doctors had discovered a very interesting thing. They said that cancer is triggered, listen to this very carefully, cancer is triggered by some proteins, they call it protein 58, protein 56 or something like that. When these proteins attack us from some unknown areas within us, which are built within us since our creation. What are these areas? I mean, this I've been telling for so many years, is the left side and the right side, the two extremes. Now what do we do when we go to the right side? The right side is the area where you think too much, where you project yourself in the future. Now like that you go on, then you start becoming a person who is more interested in the future than in the present. The center is the present. Now you start projecting your mind into that. When you start projecting your mind too much into that, you start moving into that side. With that, anybody who is an austere person, they think that if you are a very austere person, you lead a life of celibacy and all these nonsensical things, you see. All this is absolutely nonsensical. If you lead a life of celibacy, it's not going to help you at all. On the contrary, such a person becomes an extremely dry personality and ultimately dies of heart attack. And such a person is so hard-headed, so hot-tempered, that you must take a barge pole before you meet such a person. They are so cursing type, so unaware of other people's health or anything, that they can curse anyone. And this is their job, is to curse this one and curse that one and curse that one. They're extremely dry people. They might take to social work in the name of God. Oh, they'll work like hell for the poor. They're thinking they're saving the poor and doing this and that. And while if you see them any other time, you'll be sure that such a person is absolutely burning with fire. They have a horrible liver, very hot temper. There's no sweetness about them. There's no magnetism about them. All the people run away from them. They're like Boy Scouts, you see, sitting on everybody's head. Do this, do that, you haven't done this, what are you doing? They will not sleep themselves and not allow anybody to sleep. They think that everybody is supposed to work under their thumb, and these are the people who are very ego-oriented, as shown there, are the people who move on to the right-hand side. Any austere ideas about religion can take you to this side. And this austerity is very dangerous for human beings because it cuts you off from the whole. Such a person may be entrapped or possessed by some sort of a personality on the right-hand side. I know of a lady who is very well known in India and who's got a big prize and this and that for her social work. I happened to see her first time on an aeroplane when she had no prizes and all that. She came with some sort of an odd stuff with her and she wanted to sit in the front seat. So the air hostess said, I'm sorry, this is reserved for some children who are sick and they have to go by this plane and we can't give you this. And the mother is there. She started fighting with the mother. How many sick have you cured? What do you think of yourself? And this and that. And she was just jumping from here to there and there to there and there to there. And she wouldn't allow the plane to leave. And for half an hour she was fighting to sit down there. And the amount of abuses she used for the air hostess, I was amazed. And she's supposed to be a woman who should be given a peace prize or something like that. I don't know, there was no peace on her face, neither around her, and everybody was so disturbed with the way she was on about it. It was really shocking to see this personality who was so hot-tempered and so meticulous about things. And she was arguing with her, this was my seat, and this was this, and this was that. Thank God, then they got her out, and the plane left the place. But I'm telling you, such people can be so frantically hot-tempered and can be so unaware of your presence there that you have to be very, very careful with them. Such people may look to be very, very successful in life, you see, and when they walk they have a upper lip and all sorts of things, you see. But it takes no time for them to realize that it's all tomfoolery going on. This kind of ego orientation can lead you to nothing but stupidity. A person can be extremely stupid and he doesn't know he has been how stupid he has been, because he says, what's wrong? You see, a gentleman came to see us and he had a wife. She was only 16 years of age and the fellow was 80 years of age, you see. Naturally, I felt he must be the grandfather, you see. So I said, is she your grandmother, granddaughter? So my husband pinched me. He said, that's his wife. I said, really? I said, I'm sorry, I didn't know she was a... What's wrong? I can have a wife who is 2-year-old. What's wrong in it? I said, nothing wrong. Only thing people will laugh at it. That's all. All sorts of stupid things people do in this world. And they think, what's wrong? This is the best way to get along with your stupidity, till they discover that you are the greatest stupid person going on. Now this stupidity comes from this ego going up and surrounding your brain completely. You cannot see anything else. You just see yourself. My room, my house, my. You cannot see that there are others, that you owe some sort of a relationship to others, that you have to be kind to them, that you have to share things with them. You all the time think about yourself. And such people get possessed by supraconscious style. What happens in spirituality with such people? They start feeling their body is lying here and they go up and sit on a tree. They think it is realization or enlightenment. Just imagine. This is nothing but a supraconscious spirit has entered and taken the body away and put it there. I told you 3 Americans coming from America, and they were known to be very big scientists. They came to see me and they said, Mother, you have to teach us one thing. I said, what? We want to fly. I said, fly? You are already flying. What do you want to fly? They said, no, but we want to fly with ESP. I said, you should not do that. Because if you do that, then you are enslaved by these spirits. And you do want to do that, to be enslaved by these spirits? Yes, whatever it is. Enslavement or anything. We want to have this and we want to get this by which we fly. I said, why? They said, because Russia is doing it. And Russians are doing experiments with ESP, so we should also do. I said, if they are going to hell, are you also going to go to hell? They said, yes. What's wrong? I said, nothing wrong. Go with 2 running jumps. You can go very fast there. But as far as I am concerned, I am not for it. I am not going to doom your life forever. So then they asked me, I asked him, who has sent you to me? They said, one Patanjali. You see, there is a fellow called Patanjali who is a journalist. I said, this Patanjali has sent you? Yes, he has sent us to you. He was the man who used to leave his body and run all over the places. He was a journalist, you see, so he used to get the news before anybody knew. And he used to run out of his house, and the wife was so surprised that one day he brought some sand. And he said, yesterday, you know where I was? I was on the Juhu beach. From there I brought the sand for you. She got such a fright, and he used to shake before any photograph of God or Christ or anyone. He used to shake like that. So she brought to me, she said, this fellow is shaking. I don't know what's happening. He's rattling. Is it Parkinson's thing? I don't know what's happening. And here in the night he disappears. I lock up everything, still he disappears. I don't know what to do. And it's very shocking. He said, sometimes I go and sit on a tree. I said, really? So I told him that you are possessed. He said, Mother, please take away. I don't want this nonsense. You don't know where I will end up. Tomorrow I'll be anywhere hanging in the air. I don't want to do that. And maybe that my body may not come back. And this is what people are doing now, is to take out the spirits. When they take out the spirit from a person, you see, they keep it with them. Like the children, the small children die in their sleep. If my mother is here and she has a child in America, she says, I want to talk to my child through a medium. It's a very dangerous thing. Never play with these mediums, very dangerous. And such a mother I know in Switzerland, she did that to a child, and the child died in America, in her sleep, because the distance is such that where there is day, there is night. And she was doing this in the daytime, and the child was sleeping. And she talked to the child, she heard his voice. Everything she did, and the child died. Never go near these people who deal with spirits, is said by all the great people of the world. But we are not bothered. You see what's wrong? We go to spirits, to ESPs, to our elders who are dead, to our brothers and sisters. Why bother them? Now they are dead. Let them be free, as it is you tortured their lives when they lived on this earth. Why don't you leave them free? Let them go and take their births. But we are not satisfied. We say, no, we must talk to them. We have planchets, we hold hands, call spirits and do with them. But do you know what happens with them? First of all, no realization. Very difficult for such people. Even if you get realization and all that, you have lots of problems. I have seen people go mad with it. Because these spirits are dirty things. Supposing you have called me, I'm an Indian. So now you are exposed to India. You must know you are exposed to India. And you have no control over the people who are coming down from these areas, and you are just entered. They possess you. They possess you, your family, everything. And it's a fact that these horrible things that act or that call or that try to show that they are helping you are the people who are just taking money from you. But they are going to be condemned much worse than anyone. The people who are mediums, who are clairvoyant, they use these things, and all this we'll call these gurus from Tibet. There's nothing like that. Anybody who is a realized soul will never do that. Any realized soul will never come into anybody. No guru can come into anybody. Take it from me, because they know the value of freedom. They will never do it. It's a very mean thing to do. To them who are dead and to yourself who is living and is such a beautiful thing created by God. You get possessed by all these nonsensical things, black magic and this tila smart. And I don't know how you educated people can take to it. Perhaps you are very naive. I would say that. You are naive. Because in India we know this. We know all this. We know all this materialization and all business. We know very well. Of course, I mean, the young people do not know now, because I am an ancient person. We all knew about it. We call it Bhanumati, we call it Preta Vidya, Smashana Vidya, Bhuta Vidya, and there are books and books about it, what these things are done. They black magic and voodoo and all sorts of things that you call it. But you have no knowledge about it. Now, for example, we put all our dead bodies in the church. It's very dangerous. I don't know. Who told? Where is it written in the Bible? I don't understand. Why should you put your dead bodies in the church? All right, if you want to have a church for the dead body, let them be alone with the dead bodies. You are living people. Why do you sit on top of dead bodies there and have all these devils coming on you and sitting on your heads? Only a realized soul is the person who should be buried in a church. Only a realized soul. In India is a custom that all people are burnt except for a realized soul. Because they never try to possess anyone. They never try to disturb. On the contrary, they help in so many ways. They are not the people who will just come to disturb your life or to give you some encouragement. Sometimes you feel very happy also with that, because you feel that your responsibility is taken over. They have taken your responsibility and you feel quite relieved. In the beginning you feel quite nice. It's a good sensation. Oh, I feel peace within me. Because somebody else has come into your house and he is going to use all your house and you will be left behind. And then you become a recluse. Such people will find they'll put the cloth in the mouth like this, look like that, and they're very much frightened and afraid. Of course, before me they shake like this. All sorts of things happen. Now there's another trend about it. If you say that these are possessed people and this and that, so the left side ones are even worse. Left side ones are the people who go into the spirit business very much, but there are two types of spirit business. One can give supraconscious and one can give even subconscious. And subconscious is very easily available because they are busy bodies, all these spirits on the subconscious area. They are busy bodies and very mean and sly and dirty people. For example, a woman dies young without marriage. She would like to trouble a married woman. She's jealous. And that's why there are certain rules and regulations in our life one should understand, by which you should avoid all this nonsense. Take your psychology itself. Psychologists do not know what they are facing. They treat mad people. I told you about Freud. He was half-baked because he only knew about this desire, power of desire, which he called conditioning and all that. But he did not know there was another one, which is our ego. So he said, you take out all your conditioning. You don't have any conditioning whatsoever. So where do you go? You land up in what's wrong? Ego-oriented. Then you form another cult by saying, we must destroy our cult. You go on saying to yourself, oh, you are good for nothing, you are useless all the time. Kill your ego. So you become a recluse. These two things happen with the extremes of this movement, of this center. Through this center, you either go to the left or to the right. Now what is the real thing? This is the center of creativity. Creativity and the knowledge of the divine. Knowledge of the divine is when you get your realization, you get these cool vibrations of the Holy Ghost. And you have to know how to raise the Kundalini of others, and you have to know how to correct yourself. You have to know how to know all these centers, and also you have to find out all the absolute questions you have got within your mind. This has to happen to you. This realization has to happen because this is in your own right you are having. Now you are a human being and you have to become a superhuman being. I am not doing anything about it. As I say, I am just cashing your bank accounts. But if bank accounts are so much on the left or the right, it's rather difficult. You have to give lots of grace marks and sort of overdrafts are there. So one has to understand that better be in the center. Not to go to these things. Why? Why? For what? What are you going to gain out of these things? Are you going to go to your spirit? Are you going to become yourself? Why? Just for a little gain here and a little gain there. Why are you going to these horrid people? They will take you to such a horrible extreme that maybe you may not be able to return. In London, I was surprised. There was a doctor whom I knew by relationship, and he came to see me and he said, I've lost all my jobs, everything, because I'm very depressed. I can't work. I don't know what happens to me. I'm extremely depressed. I've lost zest to work. I do not feel anything. I'm just gone. I'm very depressed. And every time I try to work, I get again depressed. I'm very tired. I asked him, did he go to any one of these tantrikas and these type of places? Never. But my grandfather was a tantric. He used to do this black magic business. And now see, the grandson is suffering because of that. Later on, he was cured. We have one Australian here who was a Russian doctor. His grandmother had a habit of taking the child to the cemetery in the early ages of his life. He remembers that very well. And after some time, he became so depressed. He lost his job. He couldn't work. He used to get a headache and all sorts of things used to happen. And cramps used to come in his hands. When he came to me, he got cured, but it took some time because in childhood, all the impressions of the spirits was there. So one has to understand how to keep dead away from. You have to be in the present and not in the dead. Whosoever is dead is finished. Have you ever noticed a monkey, if the child of a monkey dies, before the death, the monkey will be shouting and screaming and doing all kinds of things. As soon as the thing dies, it leaves. It's not bothered. You can see with dogs and so many things. It's not bothered about it. It knows it's gone. That's why it is said that when somebody is dead, think of God and you sing songs and things like that and do not indulge into it too much. But we have forgotten all those things, and the way we do about dead things sometimes, it is so far that actually most of us live, then when doing all this, we live in the pasthood. We live in the past, and such people also see some ghosts and things. And some of them who were like this have seen my past and have been shaking before. They all shake before me, just like this, they go on shaking. They cannot sit straight. They go on shaking like this, they go on shaking like this. All the time their body shaking, they have no control over their body. So one has to understand that these things are absolutely dangerous for human beings. We are human beings. We are not dead bodies. We are not that. But the worst thing is that those who indulge into these things are caught up by the proteins which doctors have said are nothing but these dead spirits. They are saying proteins because they don't understand. These are the dead spirits. Cancer is caused only by the attack of the dead spirits. I have not come across a single case whom I have treated many, who has not got the affectation of the spirit. Now, in realization, when you get your realization, you catch up on this or this. These are the two Swadhisthana which demand. I hope you put your hands like this. You will get your realization as well when I drop it. Just like this. And we both the feet straight up. Just like this.
Excuse me, could you please turn up the topic for us? It's quite low.
What's
I don't
it?
know if other people find it hard to hear.
Could we turn up the volume for somebody at the back?
I'm sorry for that. I've been talking about it.
Well, you turn the volume a bit higher.
It's better now? Sorry for that. You should have told me earlier. You were so silent, I didn't know. Now is it all right? Now, I was telling you that when you put your hands like this, first the cool breeze starts blowing. Alright? But when
Shri Mataji, please give us balance. Let us keep both our hands to the level of our hearts. And pray to Mother, Shri Mataji, please rule this heart. Please give me compassion for the whole mankind. Mother, please come in our hearts. Let us thank Mother by joining our hands. Shri Mataji, thank you for this divine knowledge and your compassion. As a collective, let us bow down, raise our kundalinis and take a bandhan. May you all have a lovely day and a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Jai Shri Mataji.
Vishwa Nirmala Dharmadani वरदा देवी प्रेमदायिनी वरदा देवी प्रेमदायिनी वरदा देवी प्रेमदायिनी जय दुर्गे जय दुर्गे जय दुर्गे जय जय दुर्गे जय दुर्गे जय जय दुर्गे जय दुर्गे जय जय दुर्गे जय दुर्गे जय